Nice.
All right, there you go, boys.
Nice.
We all set, Matt?
Yes.
I'd like to call the meeting of the Sanborn Facilities Committee to order. Rise to the pledge. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Tear the eagle.
A motion on the minutes from June 21st.
I would like to make a motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor? Approved. What minutes are approved? Matt?
Okay, let me pull up the business administrator's comments. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is give you an update on the auditorium. The audio equipment is now being installed right now. The drapes, the installation of the drapes and the stage lighting has been completed. Under the condition of the district facilities, we just had like a conservation audit. There's a conservation easement over the property out behind the playing fields, and I walked the property with the conservation easement steward, and she noted some violations. What we noted out here was some ATV activity on one of the trails out back here, and also one of the butters is starting to push their junk onto our property, or they're storing things on our property. So what I have to do is go and notify that abutter to remove their stuff off our property. And then also we're thinking about putting a couple stones on the trail so that it prevents ATV activity down the property. Okay. The other violations on there were minor, like there's an invasive weed. We're going to try to turn that into a high school science program. And then they called the Boy Scout bridge here a violation, but that's outside of the easement area.
The Beehive Bridge?
Yes,
Okay.
it's not inside the conservation area, and it's also for ADA access. I'm not worried. Okay,
How can it be a violation of the easement if it's not in the easement area?
because they show disturbances on the edge of the easement area in their report outside of that easement area.
Okay.
Okay.
But there's no corrective action on our part. It's just noted.
No, yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
Yep, the only two corrective action things they want us to do is address the ATV activity, and then also address the debris coming onto our property. It's at the far end. So if you go down to the field, go to the far corner, there's a path that goes out there, and it probably goes out there for a good quarter of a mile out into the woods alongside of the wetlands, which would actually be a great cross-country running course out there.
Yeah.
So
So I heard you say you put a stone in front of the trail. So then when they drive around the stone and drive through a new area, what do you do?
well, we're going to have to somehow put up some sort of barrier to prevent them to come around.
Okay.
And then
But
also
that's not possible.
we're going to have to keep trying.
Okay. Isn't it just our responsibility to post it?
We're also going to post it.
Okay. I don't know that
We're going to talk to the
Yeah, I
landowners.
mean, I've ridden ATVs as a kid my entire life, and when I saw a boulder, I just went around it.
Yeah.
And I made my own path. So like,
Yeah,
that's what kids do.
Yeah, especially if it's dirt bikes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Or,
I think we're required to post, right?
But I'm also thinking that if we were to try to turn this into like a walking path or a running path and put some of our students on there, it's going to reduce the activity on that trail.
And it's expensive to put boulders in place.
It's just we have a tractor. We can go and put a boulder in a bucket and carry it down there and place it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think the posting of it is important from a liability perspective. You
I
know,
think we post it.
Yep.
The property and at the entrance of wherever this path is of the property.
Mhm.
And I think.
Yeah, I'm going to speak to the land.
The other thing that we can do is put up a camera, but then you got to police that.
Actually, there is a camera out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
The state has a camera out there.
On the path.
I don't know exactly where it is, but I know it's out there.
And I'm looking at a picture of the path. I mean, it's a
Hold on.
It's substantial.
It's in the, here. Yeah. I didn't have a chance to read it before, but I was looking at it now as you were talking. I mean, yeah, you're right. That would be a great cross country running, walking path. And that links, where's the other side of that though? So the back of the high school here, and then
Yeah, we got to try to figure out some way of looping it back.
where does it go right now though? Is the question.
It goes out along the edge of the property.
Yep.
It's almost better if I could put it on Google Maps. Yeah, along the edge of the property, and it terminates at the edge of someone else's property
Okay.
on the far side
Okay.
of the wetlands.
Okay. Okay. So it doesn't go all the way to like the state park area.
No,
Kingston State
no,
Park,
the state park is in that direction.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this path isn't.
That path is wide enough that you could put a small
new.
truck down there.
No.
And it's substantial too.
Yeah.
It has culverts in
You
it.
could put a side by side down that thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, man.
My next thing is fire system repairs. I brought an example.
Real quick, I
Yes.
just want to go back, just so we're clear.
Absolutely.
Hopefully people watch us. If we post it, and we have a camera, and somebody is violating that, we intend to fine, correct?
We're going to issue a no trespass order.
Right.
Right.
Right. Just depends on what the severity or the,
No.
it's one thing if a kid rides a bike or walks by or,
No, riding, yeah.
yeah, but still,
Motorized, once you post it, no
Right.
motorized vehicles.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the posting, right? No motorized vehicles.
Yeah. No
Not-
motorized vehicles.
Okay, so it's
We're
not-
okay if
Yeah.
the traffic goes
Yeah,
out there.
Okay.
what about bicycles?
I think kid on the bike
I
is
think I'm
fine.
going to be okay with
Okay.
bicycles as well.
Okay.
No motorized vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
very
it's a
And-
nice path, so.
And these conservation people want people out there using that path.
Sure.
Okay. So, fire system repairs. This is an example of what we're repairing. Okay. And I just wanted to
Thank
let you, yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to hold the exhibit, please.
And this is also an example that the building is 18 years old and does need repair, even though it looks fantastic.
How many of those needed to be replaced?
I think there's 5 in the auditorium. Dan is saying it's going to be more, but there should be a program where we're going through the building and replacing them all.
Right. So they had to remove the seats in the auditorium and pull the, it's important for everyone to remember that the building is very, very nice looking, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things that are,
And we flush annually, is that correct?
Yeah, actually, our fire suppression system is tested on a weekly basis. So
but is it flushed? What do you mean by flushed?
Flush the system.
I
Did
don't,
they wash it out?
Yeah, move water. We should
Yeah.
flush.
they move the system every week. They bring on a technician every single week.
And they
And
open the main valve. and-
I don't know if they open the main
That's
valve,
flushing
but
the
they're,
system. That's what I'm
but
talking
That's
they're
what I wanted to know. is
Yeah,
how do you define flushing the system?
but they-
Yeah, you open the main valve, you let it drain out, just like if you're going to surface it, right? You have to drain it. And
Yes.
then you let it fill back up. And
Yeah.
that helps get rid of some of the sediment that causes some of those.
Okay, that's really
flush in
good.
the system.
Can you
Yeah.
check on that, Matt?
yeah, I will.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
But I know it's tested on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
Yeah.
okay.
But I think it's good to be clear about terminology because
Yeah.
testing doesn't
Yeah.
sound like flushing to me.
No, it's not.
Which is why I wanted to kind of
Yeah.
tease that
It
out.
keeps it moving, right? Just like
Yeah.
at your home, right? Stuff corrodes, it just sits.
Right,
Here,
just like if you leave a
put
car in the
comment
driveway for
in
3
here.
months, you're going to have problems when you go to drive it.
Okay, let me put a comment in here just so that we can
Yeah.
address it. Is the,
That's
Okay.
No, noted.
okay, the next thing is, at the last meeting, we spoke about lining the freshwater tank at the middle and high school. We're keeping an eye on this project, mining our operating budget right now. The operating budget is super duper tight, okay? I don't think it's appropriate to bring a solution to this committee at this time, okay?
Yep.
However, we walked a facility today and there's a tank that needs to be replaced at that facility. So we may have to address that sooner. And this is over at Chase Field.
So this one that we were talking about, the freshwater cleaning / lining, the last conversation we had, I don't want this to get lost because I couldn't find it in notes anywhere. The conversation was, do we need to clean it? Do we need to line it? And well, it's recommended. And well, is it recommended or required? How bad is it? We don't know how bad it is.
Yeah.
We just think it needs to be done. And there was just a lot of ambiguity
Okay.
around it. So do we have any more clarity or are we still operating in this ambiguous?
I was there when they opened it up.
Okay.
The amount of sediment at the bottom of the tank was the impression from the person who opened it up wasn't that much. And it's mainly because we have a lot of filters on the front end.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and then I saw the video inside. Yeah, you can see little things of rust in there, but does it really mean that it's rusting all the way through? I'm not entirely convinced. Okay. So in my viewpoint, we're more or less monitoring. Okay. And looking at really digging down. Do we really need to line this?
Yep.
We have some other issues,
Yep.
I think, in the district that are more pressing.
Yep.
And actually one of them deals with Beakey School.
And what was the prognosis of those that did the assessment though? Were they like, yeah, this is good for another 12 months, or oh no, you got
No,
5
he
more
didn't
years?
tell me.
So they gave no prognosis?
He gave me no prognosis because he was just putting a camera down there and looking, but he was surprised that there wasn't that much sediment at the bottom. Okay.
So how do we get the next level of assessment?
Unfortunately, I think he's the only person. The only way to really get the next level of assessment is
That
to
doesn't
put
help
someone,
us though, because we don't know
Right.
what the,
but we'd have to put someone in the tank.
which
Okay.
tank is this again? I'm sorry.
It's the freshwater tank here at the high school. The tank is about, it's as deep as this room is, and you need to hire a certified person to go into a confined space,
That's good.
Right.
and we don't have anyone certified to do it.
Right. So how much would that cost?
Why don't we look at, we'll look into it.
Okay. Look
Okay.
into it and report back next month because I'd like to know
All right.
what it would cost to get it fully assessed. It's drinking water.
Yes.
I don't, there are some things that I'm willing to kind of observe, and there are some things that need to be absolutely sure. And if it's going in the body of the students that I serve, it needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
I need a 100% assurance that it's safe and going to be okay.
And it's also not a thorough assessment if you're the professional and you're going to put a camera in something and you're going to look at something, then on the back end of that, you give some sort of evaluation.
Right, something.
Yeah.
We're not looking for an exact, but like, is this good for a year or 10 more years?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Have you never seen it this bad or never seen it this good? Like, give us something, right?
Right.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Sounds like he thought that this my amount of sediment was good.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to interpret.
What does that
I mean,
mean?
I have assumptions.
Yeah.
But I'm not an
Yeah.
expert. I
Exactly.
don't feel
Yeah.
comfortable.
Okay. Over at Beakey, while we were we pump out the septic tanks a couple times every year, and we were pumping out the septic tanks just recently.
Yes.
There wasn't that much water in it.
Okay, so most people, at least from my understanding of how a septic tank works, right? So because this, I want to make sure we're very clear because of the way this is worded. A septic tank has a solid tank, and then it has a runoff, like a leach field.
Yes.
Okay. So how does the Bakey system operate?
So there's actually 3 tanks. This is the solid tank.
Okay.
Okay. And so the solids go into the first tank, and then it overflows into the second tank, which is where we put the new pumps in the second tank, and then that goes off into a leach field. Okay.
Yeah.
So this first tank, when they drew it, they looked in, the water level was lower. Normally when you run the system, it runs the water level right up to the overflow. Okay. And it was down below the overflow. So they pumped it, they cleaned it out, and then the water level started going back up again without anything coming in the pipes. So the groundwater was coming in.
There's ambient water somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I talked to Dan, and he told me that, tell me if I'm wrong, Matt, it's kind of your area, but I just happened to see Dan today, and he told me that where he's at is they put water in the tank, they're going to let it sit, and then they're going to check it tomorrow to see if it's lower or higher. So if it's higher, obviously stuff's coming in.
Yep.
If it's lower, stuff's going out. If it's level, then there's no leak. And then if there's a leak, they have to we have to choose. Do we want to drain the tank and empty it and go in and have someone power wash it and spray it down to try to seal it? Right? Like the lesser expensive option. The bigger option is we have to replace it, which is obviously
Big money.
significant. It's a massive tank.
Yeah.
Sure.
How old is the tank?
It's got to be from the 80s.
It's old.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's old. I mean, I know like in terms of, again, I'm a lay person.
No, that's old.
For my
For
camp, that would be a really old tank, but
Yeah, I
it's
think
only,
we, yeah, let's just make sure we get that.
43 years.
There's gotta be a record. somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's got to be a record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
think
There's
it's
going to be
important.
a plan on this septic system.
Yeah.
Okay.
but I just, the only thing that I wanted to mention about this is that this goes in the hopper of, if you just, as we start the year off, I just want to remind everyone that there are a number of things that I'm concerned about for the future of the district with regard to facilities And although I know that we may not be able to fix them all right now and they're not all an emergency, for transparency's sake, I want it to be clear what we see,
Yes.
right? So that when we don't do something, people know
100%.
that we made a choice not to do it, so that we are not held accountable later,
Yep.
that we didn't say anything.
Everything we've discussed so far is important. Sprinkler system, drinking water, potential leak of a tank.
Mhm.
Of a septic tank.
All priorities over how nice does the floor look?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Thank
Right.
you.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. The window film was installed and some of the ballistic glass is arriving from the manufacturer. Okay. That's a part of the safety grant.
Yep.
All right. Now we're into other items that are left over from the prior year.
Real quick, sorry. The other thing from safety grant was the bollards.
Yes.
So what happened with those?
They haven't been installed yet.
We-
They're going to be installed soon. You can actually see where the markers are.
Okay.
Okay.
This year?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It
okay.
has
I
to
just wanna
be.
make sure. Yeah.
No, they have to be spent.
That's right. Yeah. So I thought.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not going to be like the auditorium where we waited forever,
Well,
right?
what do you mean?
We waited like a year for some things for the
For the
auditorium.
parts.
Yeah.
The backwards.
Yeah, the
I get it.
bollards won't be like that.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm saying that for the camera.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to jump down to Memorial, okay, because I've had an update about the water patch that collects in front of the building. We have contacted the state of New Hampshire. They're not willing to assist us in trying to resolve the runoff that's coming down from the road. And I do have a video, or I did take a video of when it was raining, the water does come down the road, down the driveway, and collects out in front of that building. So what we got to do is come up with some sort of it's going to look like a little speed bump at the end of the driveway, and then collect in like a little a collection pond on the front lawn. So that's what we're going to have to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Why did we skip the other biggie items?
They're from the prior year.
Okay. Yep. I got it. I'm fine with it. I want to make sure.
Okay.
Okay.
The roof leak at Memorial. Okay. Right now we had, when I last spoke with you, the low cost bidder for replacing the roof was $300,000. Since that meeting, we got another one for $196,000, and that doesn't remove the existing roof. It just puts another roof on top of it.
An overlayment.
Yes.
And the
Okay.
structure can support that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So they do take off a portion of it. Okay.
Yeah.
But they put another one on that's going to be a rubber membrane roof for $196,000.
So what's the warranty on that? What's the warranty on the 300,000?
Well, right now we're in the cost estimate side of it, because if we're going to be doing something like this, it's going to be a board decision that's going to occur next spring, because we've got some budget constraints and we've got some priorities that we got to do. So I've asked to have a patch put on the roof to get us through the winter. Okay.
We would prefer to replace it. But
Well, yeah, I mean, putting another layer on top of a problem that may not. resolve
that's
the problem.
and what let me Matt, I'm
If
going
they're
to refrain.
guaranteeing
No,
that if there's a return on investment, and they're giving us a warranty on that work for 196, which sort of says, okay, if we can forego the 300, then it makes sense. But if
Yes.
it doesn't, then
There's also asbestos in the old roof. And if we were to put another roof on top of it, it just encapsulates it. Okay.
So let me kind of reframe a little bit, because we've done some work on this today. We have some challenges financially in other areas of the budget that I would be happy to discuss in a non-public, because they're student and personnel related. But what I would simply say is that until I have a strong handle on where that is with this current budget, I didn't feel comfortable bringing forward a $190 some odd thousand proposal. But in the spring, once everything's kind of sifted down and we've gotten through some of the year, we can revisit it as part of the unexpended funds at the end of the year, possibly, if there are any. And I think it's important to note that I asked Dan and Matt to just, I want them to be thorough. I want good bids. I want real bids. I want all of that information. I want it to be really well. So it's a big job. I want it done right. And I want it done with a lot of thorough analysis, not rushed. So if it costs a few thousand to fix it and it can hold until spring, and Dan is sure that it will hold, reasonably sure, no one's 100% sure, then I thought that made more sense considering the financial constraints today.
Okay. I'm jumping down. The handicap playground structure got repaired yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then let's jump down to the high school. There's one major change here. In June, they put plexiglass on the top of the greenhouse,
Yeah.
and the library roof has stopped leaking.
That's fantastic.
Okay, so we're going to have a broader discussion of the future of that greenhouse.
Just to be for the transparency on the camera, the greenhouse is not a, it's called a greenhouse. It's a window that bubbles out and has an arch and then comes down. And it really is a very difficult thing to replace or repair because it's such an odd shape.
Yep.
And the science wing teachers, if it works, would grow plants in there.
Yeah, no, essentially, I think what we discussed before is just removing it and blocking it up.
We did have that conversation. However, the plexiglass roof has been so effective. We're kind of wondering if we should reevaluate that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I spoke to Dan about that today too. And he said, yeah, it's at least a couple year fix. Like he put really thick plexiglass, or if it's not leaking, he's not worried about it because he's worked hard to get it locked down.
So if we're successful where we are, our strategy right now is going to be stay where we are and ride this out with the plexiglass and using it as a greenhouse.
For now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, year end.
Either fix costs money. Like
Yep.
Right.
Ripping it out and blocking it up, it's gonna cost money.
Yeah. Or ripping it out and putting, because we probably have to put windows in the place of it because the rooms need windows.
Yeah.
So they do also serve as light for the classroom.
Good, and especially with all the rain that we've had, it's not leaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's what Dan said. Yeah. Of all the summers.
Over at the old middle school, we're looking at plans as to whether we need to replace the boilers over there. We're looking at whether it's feasible to change to propane. So we're just looking at it as getting ready if something were to happen. Okay. And then finally, we're also discussing parking lot improvements and an entrance to the old middle school to widen that out so we can get at least, a left-hand turning lane and a right-hand turning lane, as well as a lane coming into the area.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the condition of the pavement leading up to that is good enough, or is that going to be part of that as well?
I
You know
think
what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Around the school goes next to the garage.
Yeah.
That part.
It may have to be dug out.
Okay.
That may have to be just like, because that pavement's been there for an awful long time. If you were to walk it,
Yep.
it's definitely degraded to the point where
Yep.
we need to consider removing it entirely. Some of the thoughts that we had were to fill in some of the ditches between the parking areas,
Mhm.
and then paving over the whole area.
Mhm.
And that actually operationally works better because we can snow plow the whole parking
Sure.
lot easier.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, be a big cost, but
Yeah, that's another future conversation as well.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So that's my report.
So for new items, we had the homecoming parade. Just, I know, I saw the email. Great that it looks like that's gonna move forward. Anything that facilities needs to do with that? I don't think so.
Not the committee.
Okay.
Basically what the policy has for rental use of the facilities, they have to apply to the school district. It has to be signed off by the building principal, the athletic director, myself, and then Tom. Okay.
And I think that process is already underway.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
And what we did was we said, start recruiting because we don't want to slow you down with paperwork.
Yeah.
Just get the paperwork to us. We'll make sure it's all in order before
And
the
by
event.
recruiting, you mean
Recruiting parents.
parents
Yeah.
and people in the community to help so the parade can happen.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. If we don't have volunteers, it won't
That's
happen.
exactly. what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah. We need lots of good volunteers.
Understood.
Jen knows more on the specific numbers and she's working with them on that.
is there a date on this event yet?
Yes.
There is? Okay.
I don't know when it,
I think it's mid-September. I can
Yeah.
get that for you, Jeremiah.
Okay.
I can look it
I'm
up.
looking at the email right now and I see a time. I
Yeah.
don't see a date though.
It's homecoming weekend, which I think is the middle of yours or
I
mine.
think,
One's
I
yours,
think
yeah,
the
thanks.
email and follow, you should already know. the incoming weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on, man.
It's like, we're planning on 8 a.m. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
You're there.
The flooring work at the memorial portables, you asked to have some carpeting put in.
Well, no, we were talking before about the carpeting being deplorable. And
Yeah.
we were talking about
Yes.
some kind of laminate flooring. Being
Yeah.
putting in there.
Yeah, well, we're trying to get pricing right now. This is also going to be another spring project, and it relates to the conversation that we had
Money.
earlier about money.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to hold. We do. We have to be very fiscally conservative right now.
When you say getting quotes, you're talking about getting quotes on,
So we can inform you on the prices.
no, I mean like for having it installed or just purchasing it?
It's going to be installed. We're not
We get it
gonna do
installed. We don't do that in-house.
Yeah.
Like you mean the actual installation of the carpet
Like flooring, yeah.
or the flooring?
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually have that done by someone. We could talk about it, but it's pretty tight with facilities, like in terms of like manpower. It's been a tight summer.
Sure.
So whenever we do that, it usually is Dan Doyle that does it for us because he's the one with the construction background.
Mhm.
And anything that's been built, he's done personally. So I just don't know if he, we'd have to talk to him about the timing.
Okay.
Because one other time that we could look at putting the flooring in is over the holiday break because it's a longer break, provided that Dan's available and not traveling with his family or anything.
Yeah, okay.
You just have to do it when there's no students.
Yep.
But the reality is that Matt has very carefully put the stop on any expense that isn't absolutely necessary. To the point where he asked me about a training the other day. When I asked to go to a training, he said, "Do you really have to do that? Like, can we wait?" We're just being careful.
Yep. I get it.
Special ed is having some challenges, and we just want to make sure that we're solid and that's responsible.
Yep.
You know?
So is the flooring adequate for the start of school?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean-
adequate, but it's not good.
Yeah,
It's an old
exactly.
carpet, right?
I get it,
Well,
but we
it's-
need to
it's-
make
it's
sure
not a
that
carpet. I
we
mean,
need to make sure that the kids are not walking into holes in the floor.
No,
and-
there's-
No,
no,
the
it's not like
flooring's
that.
fine.
Okay.
It's the covering that's bad.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
I
Yeah,
forget what
that
it's called.
helps.
It's called the ink pad
Yeah.
effect. Whatever dirt you're bringing in there,
Yeah.
there's no pile in that carpet whatsoever.
Yeah, it's just
So
old.
whatever dirt's coming in that room
Yeah.
is being it's going throughout the rest of the building. So
Got it.
goes from outside to that room, in that room to the rest of the building.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's just not a.
Okay.
It's one of the things that I think we could do to extend the life of the
Yep.
portable.
Got it.
Is to at least make it a little more,
Okay.
aesthetically good. It'll help the rest of the building. It'll keep the dirt down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you didn't have to move all those books to do it, it would be, I mean, a group of us, 6 or 8 of us could go in and lay out that pergo or hardwood, laminate flooring in a day. Because it's
Yeah.
a rectangle. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Yeah.
done it in my house before, just
Yeah.
a huge room in a day.
Yeah, I
you know?
would volunteer my time to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think we
Yeah.
should at least discuss it.
Sure. And I'm happy to help too.
I'm sure we can get people from the community to volunteer sometime.
Sure. And we'll talk to Dan.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay. All right. LED light discussion. What do you guys want to do?
Well, I think we have all the information.
Yes.
We had a presentation from the board.
Yes.
I'm sorry, from
Sylvania.
Yeah. And I don't want that to die on the vine. There's
Okay.
a lot of long-term work that was
Yes.
put into that
Mhm.
by some of the former board members.
Mhm.
I think we should have a discussion as a board about the return on investment, and we should make a decision to either move forward or not. So, I think we have all the information we need, so we should probably put something on the agenda for one of the next board meetings to discuss it.
Okay, sure. Okay. I'll talk to Tom about doing that at one of the next meetings.
Okay.
Okay, I gave an auditorium update.
Yeah, that's more of, the rest. I think it's the remaining, parts, and components that we were waiting for.
Yes, the audio is getting installed right now.
Okay.
Okay,
And that was the last components.
yes,
I'll have Gordon give you a full blown update at the next meeting.
yes.
That'd be good,
Yeah, like a detailed one.
Yeah. I
Yes.
think-
It's a lot's going on.
I just,
Yeah,
if you remember what we asked for, it was,
yes,
here's what we approved.
yes,
Here's the dollar amount that we approved.
yes.
Here's what.
I can do it that way for you.
That's what I think we.
Yeah, side by side,
It's
what's
not
been
me. I
done.
think it's we
Yeah.
approved a large amount of money, and I think for transparency, we should, since it all wasn't sort of installed at the same time because of back orders, I think we should just
Yeah.
lay it out for everybody.
I also think it's great for the community to see
Yeah.
in the sense that it provides a a good awareness of that the auditorium is up and functioning and could be rented and used to generate revenue.
Yes, because that was
Yeah.
one of the major components.
It
of
is.
Right?
Yep.
So, okay, good.
Can't use it to someone else if I don't even trust it to do a presentation because things weren't working. Right.
Mhm.
And then facility tour discussion. I think it's perfect because I think we can talk about touring some other facilities
Yes.
as well.
Yes,
We're gonna have a new board member.
yes.
I'm sure he'll want some tours. Jeremiah, I think you wanted to tour a facility. Maybe you already did that.
We did today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to tour that
I think
facility?
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Well, we know you're busy.
Yeah.
So when's a good time
I
for,
don't know.
because we're going to give you a tour whenever you want.
You know he's going to say Saturday night at 6 just
Yeah.
because you offered.
No, I'll.
All right.
How was the facility
You mean just in general?
in general?
Yeah. In general, I'll be honest, I think it's a great facility.
Hmm.
Does it need, is it dated a little bit? Yeah. Does it need some repairs? Yeah. I need some TLC to it, but it has some really good bones.
Good.
And for what the district uses it for and needs it for. And I think for what the community would see as a return on that, it's very small. And for how much that field, that whole complex, I mean, it's not even a field, it's a complex, gets used, the multiple games, practices. I was telling Matt yesterday alone, there were 5 teams operating on that pitch at the same time, not in each other's way and couldn't go anywhere else, but it housed 5 teams practices out there at the same time.
And we're talking about Chase Field. I
Yeah.
mentioned that, sorry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that, just that facility, because I'd never seen the field house, you know what I mean? I want to see it from the inside. you
Yeah,
know?
I haven't either. That's good.
Yes.
And I feel like it's underutilized because it hasn't had any lights shed on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
No,
so
it's good.
yeah. Solid roof, good walls. It's got some good things, but it needs a little bit of TLC. And quite frankly, I talked to Wayne,
Yes.
and he was fantastic.
Good
And
one.
again,
He's the head of grounds.
at a grounds, the guy cares. You know what I mean? I freaking
Good.
love it. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
the guy puts his heart and soul into that
Yes.
place. He's been there for a long time. Like he sees what's there. He's like, I know it doesn't always look prettiest, but I painted in here in the wintertime. Like he's putting in effort over there.
Good.
And he coaches the kids. You know that, right?
coaches 2
He's
teams.
he's the middle school
Yeah.
state
Yeah.
champ.
Champ,
Yeah.
state
I mean,
champ.
and now he's
Yeah.
the varsity basketball
Yeah,
coach.
it's
The
great.
guy's totally
Oh
invested.
yeah, I know.
And he's paying.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes he's the head of
Working
maintenance.
on facility,
that's,
you know.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the one
Yeah.
that
He
wants
does the big
vent
S.
track.
The big S. That's
Yeah.
Wayne
Yeah.
on
So-
the graduation.
He's
Yeah.
the one who wants the vent track. Okay.
Yeah.
And unfortunately I haven't gotten the completed the data because I got to pull him off from the fields to finish it.
Mhm.
So it's,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and he really needs that piece of equipment too.
Sure. And I just look at our whole athletic program we would come to a grinding halt if it wasn't for that complex.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that
Oh,
that
yeah.
little facility. I mean, how much is it again for paint and for guys to go out there and paint that? Right. I mean, it's low cost, but huge return when it comes to how it looks. And we're housing out of town teams there. Right. So, I mean, that speaks, right? Buses show up
Yeah.
all through.
Yeah.
As soon as school starts, buses start showing up there to offload kids for games. And,
Yeah.
I mean, painting a big S, the Sanborn S on the back of the 2 dugouts. I mean, there's very simple things I look at.
Okay.
But you know what? This is also an image for our district.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I agree completely, and that goes back to sometimes just a little bit does a lot,
Yes. Yes.
right? It's
Yep.
not.
Yep. And I wanted to see it because, the old phrase, putting lipstick on a pig, right? I don't want to do that. I don't want to throw good money after bad, right?
Right.
So I wanted to see if it was a solid facility. It's a solid facility,
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Need some TLC.
Does it need some Yeah, there are a few concerns. There are, but they're simple.
Yeah.
I'm saying that relatively. I get it once you add them all up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The whole district
Yes.
issues, but
Well, and we had issues with that facility with the leveling of the pitcher's mound to
Yep.
Mhm.
the home base.
Yep.
And so Matt did a lot of work on that and
Yep.
Dan. And they did a really good job of doing it. But there are things to think about with the actual field.
Yep.
So it's better, but I don't think that it's quite where it should be for the
agreed.
amount of use that we get. It's important for the community to remember that, again, when we talk about facilities, there are things that aren't apparent that are problems, and one of them is the football field.
Yeah.
The football field is not set up with proper drainage. When they built the building, they did not put in the proper drainage. and it means that it's wet all spring. So the chase fields get overused.
It's not the football field here.
Baseball field,
It's
yeah.
the baseball
Sorry, it's
field,
the baseball field. I apologize.
field hockey,
Yeah.
soccer.
Right. It's all just, it becomes wet.
Yes.
I mean, you know,
Yep. But even the football team practices over at Chase.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody was there. yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So, I can give both of you guys tours of any of the buildings.
Well, yeah, I think let's coordinate it with the new member, right?
Okay.
Let's see
Yeah.
what he wants.
Yes.
See what he wants to do. And,
Yes.
Yeah, I think we'll maybe see if,
And I think it would be important that we take the remainder of our time and go see that greenhouse.
Sure.
right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Rick, to be clear,
I
we
want
did
to go
not,
to the auditorium.
we did not leave you out today on purpose.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
it's okay.
I
Let's
said-
talk about that after me.
I sent the email. Matt's like, how's today?
Already sent you.
How's today? I was like, that's perfect, Matt.
Had to cut his bike ride short, but he did.
Let's do it right now.
All right. So there's nobody here from the public, so no public comment for today. And so I adjourn the meeting.